Hey friends, today we're going to use the book Flying in an Airplane to go through a full Mrs. Kowcheck reading table lesson, okay? So I'm going to start out by giving you guys a few of your snap words that I want you to write down, okay? The first word is give. Does yours look like mine? I hope so. Let's tap it out one time. G-I-V-E. Give. Awesome job. Next word. This should go really fast. Out. O-U-T. Out. Tap it on your arm. Way to go. Okay, the next word is saw. Does yours look like mine? S-A-W. Saw. Okay, let's do it 2 more times just to be sure. Let me tip my camera a little more. S-A-W. Saw. S-A-W. Saw. Last one. S-A-W. Saw. Perfect. Okay, so in this book, Flying in an Airplane, there's a character at the beginning of the book who feels very nervous, okay? There are 2 characters, Max and Nick. And at the beginning, one of the characters feels very nervous and about his first plane flight, and they kind of tackle this fear together, and we'll kind of find out what happens with Max and Nick as we read and the different experiences they have. There are a few words that I want to point out to you first before we get started. The first word is right here on page 3. Do you see that word in yellow? That word it's eventually going to be a snap word. That word is could. Can you think of any words that look like or sound like could? How about this word? So here's the word could. Awesome. Did you think of should too? Could, would, should. They all have that O-U-L-D spelling pattern, okay? So when you see that word in yellow, that word is could. And then I'm going to go back to page 2. By is a word you definitely know. How about this word? This word is sure. It definitely doesn't look how it sounds, but it's an important word to know. It sounds like it has that sh sound at the beginning, but it's only spelled with an S. And then this next word is about. A-B-O-U-T. And that's why we reviewed the word out. Because about is a word that you can break apart. If you see this word and you don't know it, let's break it apart. What can I do? Oh, I see the word out that I know. I see the word that I know. B, out. I can put that word together really easily if I'm stuck while I'm reading. So by using your word detective skills, you can solve words you don't know. Let me see, there were a couple others that I wanted to make sure you guys knew. Here's a compound word right here, maybe. And here's a contraction. Remember that apostrophe? Hi-ya. It kind of chops out or kicks out a couple letters and disguises 2 words into one. So that word is don't. It stands for do not. Awesome job. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read. And you guys have already read this, so I'm going to read it to you kind of quickly. Max was with his friend Nick. "This is my first trip by airplane," Max said. Max was not sure about flying in an airplane. "Will I like flying in an airplane?" Max said. "An airplane is very big," Max said. It could fall out of the sky. No, the airplane will not fall out of the sky. Birds and airplanes have wings. Wings help birds and airplanes fly in the air, Nick said. Airplanes go very fast, Max said. I could fall out of my seat. No, Nick said. You will be safe. You will wear a seatbelt. Airplanes fly very high, Max said. I could get dizzy. And an airplane ride can be bumpy. An airplane ride can be bumpy. Maybe your ears will feel funny, but don't worry. You will have fun in the airplane, Nick said. Can you see how even when the sentence ends in the middle of the line, I take a quick pause and then I read, because I'm looking at that punctuation, taking a pause when there's a period, a quick breath when there's a comma, and then I keep reading until I see my next punctuation. I snap my eyes down to the next line and read on. The airplane moved. It went very fast. Max covered his eyes. Then the airplane went up. Then the airplane went up, up, up. The airplane was in the sky. Did you see how when I was reading that, I thought that was a period, so I stopped there. But I realized it was a comma because I saw there was no capital letter down here when I snapped my eyes to the next line. So I just stopped, gathered my thoughts, and I went back to the beginning of the sentence and I reread it the proper way, the correct way, so it made sense. Then the airplane went up, quick breath, up, up. Exciting, right? Because there's an exclamation mark. The airplane was in the sky. Look, Max, Nick said. The airplane is up in the sky. We can look out the window. Max looked out the window. The airplane was above the clouds and trees. How does Max look? He looks a little nervous to me still. Wow, Max said. I can look down. There is my neighborhood. It looks small. There is my house. It looks small. There are cars on the street. The cars look small. I like to be up in the sky, Nick said. I can see all around. I like to fly in an airplane. It makes sense to me that Nick likes to fly because what kind of animal is he? You are my friend, Max said. It is fun to fly in an airplane with a friend. So now that we've read that book together, and I hope you were reading along or read a couple words, you can even mute my voice and read along to an adult with you. So you can turn the sound off while I'm reading and just read the words, or pause the video when I turn the page and read the words to get more practice in yourself. And make sure you practice following what the punctuation tells you to do. Okay, when you see a period, stop. And then even if that period is in the end of a line, you stop. And then keep reading. If there's no period at the end of the line, snap your eyes back down to the next line of text and keep going. You can do that, okay? I want you to think about the beginning of the story, the middle of the story, and the end of the story, okay? What happened in the beginning of the story? In the beginning of the story, Max was scared to fly on the airplane. And why was he scared? You're right, because he'd never done it before. So what happened in the middle of the story? Well, in the middle of the story, that airplane moved. And Nick showed Max all the reasons that an airplane was awesome. Why looking out the window was so fun, because he could see things like houses and trees and clouds. And what happened at the end of the story? I'll give you a minute. You can pause here too if you want more time. But at the end of the story, Max decided that he really liked flying in an airplane with a friend. So what I want you to do now is get a piece of paper and get a pencil. And I want you to write 3 sentences. And those sentences are going to start with at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end. At the beginning, in the middle, and at the end. And I want you to finish those sentences, okay? So you are going to write 3 sentences that go together to tell me about the beginning, middle, and end of this fiction book, Flying in an Airplane. I'm going to help you spell that word beginning because I know that's going to be tough for you guys, and I don't want you to get stopped before you get started, okay? So in is super easy. You need that capital I. That's an easy power word to spell. The, you know that word, right? T-H-E. Now beginning, we're going to use our strategy of clapping out the syllables, and then we're going to spell each syllable. Beginning. The first syllable is what word? B. You knew that. All right.